Welcome everyone to another episode of the Shop and Tread Talk podcast. We've got a familiar face with the clock. Oh, the clock is back.
The
We've
clock
got
is there.
Mr. Frank from 3D Auto, the
That's right.
famous
That's right.
shop in Aylmer, Ontario.
That's right. But you won't recognize me. I got a sunburn today. I got a sunburn yesterday, a little bit red. I was at a
I,
car
oh,
show all day.
I was going to mention to Frank we should get Margarita on for today's, but I think she's out shaking hands because she's ready running for president. Is
Yeah. She's gonna be president one day.
it? Just about.
Yeah, she's. I think she's yabbing with her friend, but yeah, she is. She is running for council.
That's
But
amazing.
I'm not. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say about that. But I do know that she's running for council, and
We'll leave it with if you want to make changes in your community, you know, start with yourself if you're able to. How's that?
that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll leave it with that, and then
Be the change. Be
be
the
the
change.
change. And then when Frank and Margarita can talk more about it, I'd love to hear more about it. But
I,
yeah, I
I
like that.
just
Be the change.
I just don't know squat about politics, right? Like there's so many politics about what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do when
Yep.
they're campaigning. Is like, oh my gosh.
So Frank and I were talking, for a topic, and I mean, we can both gab and talk for hours at a time about nothing, but we had one important topic I think today that I really want to talk about because maybe I even need a refresher. I mean, I've been using my software for a while, and sometimes I kind of fall off the boat when it comes to process, and without process, you got nothing. Um, so we want to kind of go over each of our process, kind of when our customer finds us online, or if they're a referral, they phone us, and basically from the moment we talk to them till we fix their car, hopefully fix their car, and give them the key back in their hands. So I think it's important because not everybody unfortunately has this process. I mean, some people's process, maybe they get the phone call and they say, "Yep, come on in," and they basically have the customer sitting there, and while the customer's sitting there, they go and check over the car, write down a piece of paper, and say, "Yep, this is what's wrong with your vehicle." And again, the process for stuff like this, the way the industry is now, everything's very automated, computerized, and depending on your customer, they may want to actually see a proper estimate. They may want to know kind of what quality of parts you're putting in, not just, well, you need front brakes. It's going to be $250 or for cheapies, or it's going to be 600 for premium. I mean, our customers, at least my customers, and I'm sure Frank's customers, they want to know kind of what's going on in their vehicle, what kind of parts you're putting in. The days of the white box $16 rotors in my area, at least, those are gone. People don't want that stuff.
That used to be such a thing back in the day when I was working at the used car dealership. Like everything got put on as a white box, like
Yep.
the lowest brand, and then it evolved into that he was selling some of that stuff to the customers, and I'm like, why are you doing this to the customers? Well, they want a cheap part. I'm like,
But you're
okay, but
technically selling it to the customer anyways because you're putting it on the used car,
yeah, exactly,
right?
right.
Like,
But then his mentality always was, well, like as long as it gets it out the door and it's a cheap part and it works, then it's okay. Like, yeah, but what if they come back in 6 months?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's got a year warranty. Sure, but what if they come back in 6 months? Then I made that decision when we opened our shop. I'm like, we're not going to be putting inferior parts on. We tried one brand for a while because it actually had good ratings, good reviews, and it did well. Like it was a good price point. It was okay, but then the comeback started coming. It was I think just over a year, and we started to have comeback after comeback. So
And
then
they're
I
out of
talked to the
warranty.
rep, and I'm like what the heck is with these comebacks? And he's, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So like they have two different lines, right? They have this line and this line, and he says, well, we sell this much of this one and this much of this one, but percentage wise, the return is about 10% of each line, so it doesn't matter. Even though this one is 10 times higher than this one, it's a 10%. So they're okay with that. And I'm like, I'm not okay with that. So forget that. So we go to this one. But like customers rarely ever ask us anymore, what about a cheaper part? What about
Yeah.
white box? Because we've trained them, we've conditioned them and said, look, it's just not worth it.
Yep.
We
Well,
don't want to see you. We don't want to see you come back in a year to replace that exact same part again,
yeah,
even though it's got warranty.
it's
We
not
we don't.
really, a lot of times from my experience now is they're not really asking like if it's a cheap part or not. It all comes down to the end number, like what is
Yes,
this whole process going to cost me. They're not asking whether you put a $19 rotor on there or $97 rotor or $167 rotor. For them it doesn't matter. They just want to know, like, okay, I need front brakes. What is the total? How much is it going to
right.
cost me? Is it
Yeah,
going to
that
cost me $650? That's what you're saying? Okay, is that the best you can do? Or and then they may wonder or ask a few extra questions like why is it this much? And then you can kind of tell them from there, like, hey, you know what? We're putting premium platinum rotors and the best pads. And if you want something a little bit cheaper, you're going to save $80. And nine times out of 10, they're like, you know what? Just put the good stuff on there because the labor is the same. I tell my customers, the
yeah.
labor is the
Labor
same.
doesn't change on the quality of the part.
Whether I put this $20 brake pad or a $120 brake pad, they go in this. Well, I shouldn't say they go in the same because depending on where they're punched out of, they don't go in the same. But
Which
the
kind of
labor
hardware they have in
to
them?
try and get the brake pad seated is the same.
Yes,
So, you're better off. It's in your better interest, your best interest to put on a good part. And then you don't have to see me as often for brakes. It's
exactly.
it's good for you, bad for me to put on a good part.
We had a customer come in today, and he needed a muffler, and he said the only request he had, well, he wanted to know how much it was going to be, but he didn't want a stainless steel muffler. So he already knew
Yeah.
that a stainless steel muffler was going to cost him more money. So he must have done his research or whatever. So he just said, I'm like, okay, well, there's only one brand of muffler we can put on. So I had the service writer look up this whatever muffler.
Yep.
And I always have to direct them on the exhaust because exhaust is a little bit peculiar that way. And I grew up in a muffler shop, so I understand it. So whenever it comes to exhaust, I just get to direct them a little bit, and they're
Yeah.
learning, so they're getting better. But anyway, I just told her like just look up from this supplier a muffler, and that's what you quote him. And then once we had the quote, he was there. Yep, go ahead and do it. Ordered it in, got it done. But
Yep.
that was a situation where like it's the same quality of muffler essentially, but really one's going to last 2 years and one's going to last 10 years. So it's a choice he made, but I think that in the aspect of what his car was, he didn't want to spend the extra money for the 10 year. But you know, that's
We
what do you do? So you can't
it
change that.
no, it's tough. I mean, what we've been noticing, I was even telling you for the past couple of weeks, uh, certain cars that we usually get approvals on every time because we're kind of the only place that'll fix this particular vehicle, and we're getting a lot of people declining. Like on Saturday, we had a Tesla come in with the lower lateral link. You could literally put your hand on it, just pull on it, and the top of the ball joint in there was literally moving up and down with barely any pressure.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's getting harder out there for customers. I tell customers, and maybe I shouldn't be so vocal about it, but I feel bad for him. I was with a friend of mine today, and I said, if I was on the other side of the counter, I'd feel heartened because I'd be like, I can't do this. I can't afford this. And I understand that the times are tough and the money's tight and all that stuff. And if they're on the other side of that counter, it's tough. Hence why it's a good thing I'm not in the office because I'd have such a soft heart. I'd be like, yeah, I'm okay giving a discount or something like that, but my pockets are only so deep, so I can't do that. So that's why I just stay in the shop and fix the cars and let the girls and David deal with the office so that
yep,
present it professionally,
yep,
give them the quote, say this is what's wrong, this is what we found, and that. So back to your thing about how the process is, right? Like
it's so
it's
important.
a very basic, simple process. Customer comes in with their complaint, they either call or they come in, and you just like everyone else, you bring it in, test drive. Test drive is important, especially if somebody. I had a customer today ask me, "So, did you test drive it after you did the brakes and tires?" I'm like, "Yes, of course
Of
I
course,
test
man.
drove your vehicle. Like, I would never put brakes or tires on a vehicle. I would never have a tire off and put it back on and not do a test drive. But especially since it was a vibration concern in brakes and
Yeah,
tires, yeah, I'm going to
especially if
test
it's
drive it
like
after.
a concern like that, it's getting test driven for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So test drive before, bring it in, verify the complaint, make a list,
It's quality control.
quote it. Yeah, I've 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 made the mistake like a few times. I've caught that I haven't test drove it after, and the techs, the guys, they're maybe not aware of a certain concern or whatever, even though it's written down in TechMetric. I I feel like it's a little bit off the rails here, but I feel like we're going to get to a point where I've heard a lot of guys talk about. I think Zeb was saying this in one of his podcasts. He's got one guy that does just DVIs.
Yeah, he
So
does.
okay, so that's probably where I'm going to have to get to is where I just do the DVI, test drive it,
Yep,
inspect it, DVI, send it off for the repair. After the repair, I drive it again. Right?
so
Like I see the value in having one person do that.
huge value, man.
One person that diagnoses the complaint,
Yep,
sends it off for repair. Once it's repaired, drives it to verify the complaint. I see that, and I think I would love to be able to get to that point,
yep.
or if I
So
could
that's
train somebody to do that. But the thing is, how do you train somebody to be
you.
to have that knack, right? To have that understanding of a like I'll get in a vehicle, I'll drive a vehicle, and within 30 seconds I'll be able to tell you if it's a tire,
Yep,
brake, or wheel bearing noise, right?
100%.
I had a customer that one day, the same one that we fixed today, actually, we diagnosed it last week. And he's like, "Oh, it can't be the tires. It can't be the tires because I put my winter tires on and it does the same thing."
Yep.
And I said, "Okay, well, the problem is you have two different concerns that we have to deal with here. We have a brake vibration, a,
Mm-hmm.
a heavy pulsating of front and rear brakes, both.
Yep.
And you have a tire vibration." I said, "I would bet all the money in my wallet right now that that's a tire vibration." Well, he didn't take me up on it, but if he had, I would have been richer, right? Because of it. But anyways, his left front tire had a separated belt and the cords were showing.
Yeah.
Like I knew that just driving it, but if you don't know that, you haven't learned that or you don't have that knack to understand that, that would
Yeah.
make that hard.
So I'm basically that guy when it comes to all the Teslas because we fixed so many of them that,
Yeah.
and I drive one, so I know how it should drive. So I'll drive pretty much
Automatically. How it should drive automatically. Let's just get that out there. We saw a guy the other day on the 401
automatically.
texting, cars driving. I
Yeah,
was so tempted. I was so tempted to in front of him and hit the brakes just like that. And the guy would have smacked his nose on the steering wheel.
oh yeah,
I would have laughed my ass off. Anyway, back to your story.
but I drive most of them because I don't have a crazy amount of people working in the shop, right?
Yeah.
So David, our tech that works on them all the time, basically I'll go and drive the car and I'll be like, you know what, David, this one needs left front upper control arm. You can hear it squeaking. And then I can hear noise going over bumps. Probably needs lateral links, compliance links, and a wheel bearing. And he'll put it up and be like, yep, 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 yep. And it also needs this and this. But again, I'm not a tech, but with those vehicles, I know enough to do at least some of the
The
hard work,
preliminary.
and I'm using air quotes, hard work,
Yeah.
uh, for my tech, so that way it's just less for him to get into because again, like the guys or women that are doing the hardest work are the techs. It ain't the people in the front office, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, in the front office, we're sitting there in AC making work orders and on the phone. I mean, the techs are, in the back wrenching. And if I can make their life a little bit easier by doing a test drive and kind of giving them the lowdown, like, hey, look, this is what I'm very positive is wrong with it. they can verify. We can send off the estimate, and they can go back to another vehicle while the customer is looking at it, right? So it's
Uh,
workflow, right? Workflow.
yeah, very often my day would be so much easier if I had somebody that would just drive a vehicle in and out of the shop for me. Like if I could hire a junior man that wasn't going to hit something with a car, run into something and destroy something, I would literally have him just bring a vehicle in.
Racket,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
right? Just
that I usually get. I rarely bend down and put something on a hoist anymore. I drive it in. I'm like, put this on the hoist.
yeah, but I'm
That's
saying
the
like
first thing I teach my co-op.
if that person you're just talking about that came, they drive it and then they racked it for you, shook the rear of it, it's not falling off, got it up in the air and said, okay, Frank, hoist two is ready for you. Bam, you go in, you check it
Right.
out, and you can tell them, okay, John Smith, go ahead and pull the wheels on it. I'll be right back. And you go because you've got another car that you can work on. And by the time you get back, he's like, okay, I pulled the wheels. By the way, I noticed this, this, and this. And again, you didn't ask him, but since he noticed it, now it's in your mind. I better check it. So
Yeah.
he's doing stuff for you without you even asking and saving you time, right? Because that's what we're trying to get more of every day.
Well, then the beauty of it is that if you have Tech Metric and everyone's logged into their different perspective,
Yeah.
they can pull it up and add it into the DVI real quick,
Oh, for sure.
and then it's already there. So you don't even have to think about it after. But that's a beauty. If I had 5 bays or 6 bays or something like that, I'd be doing that. I'd line them up in, check it out, go fix that. Check it out, go fix that. Check it out, go fix that. Right? That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, that works. That works in a perfect world,
yep,
and then you could like check it out and send it off to the advisor, and then they could quote it, send it to the customer, and then when it comes
sure.
back, then go to repair. Right? Like
Yep.
getting that process going. But it doesn't always work out in this world, right? Like,
No, right now, the process on my end, again, I'm the one that writes all the service and everything. So, the customer calls from wherever, and the first thing I ask them is, how can we help, right? And not, yeah, you want to bring it in now? It's like, no, how can we help? What do you need? What
yeah,
do you need us to help you with?
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, we're there to help. We are there to make money, and profit's not a dirty word, but I always try to say, how can we help? Because that's really what they're calling for. They're calling for help. So we,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
I mean, instead of saying, yeah, like what, like I've heard some people say, hey, yep, all right, so, all right, yeah, what do you need? Well, geez, I didn't call asking for a freaking lawnmower. Like,
I'm
my
always
car is
like, what can
broken
we?
down. Like, I need help.
I'm like, what can we do for you today? That's what I
That's perfect.
generally would say.
But
Yeah,
when someone answers the phone, like if you called and you needed to get something fixed, and the guy answers, "Hey, yeah, all right, yeah, what do you need?" Click.
that's like that's like when I call the shop. Like if I'm on the road or something, and I call the shop, and David answers. He's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, I know he doesn't answer the phone like that when a customer calls, but it always throws me off when he says that to me. And I'm like, okay, like it's cool, all right, whatever. But I have a very strict policy that they have to say hello. What the heck do they say? Or like, yeah, hello, 3D Auto. This is Margarita speaking, or Jaden, or
Yep,
David, right? So they introduce themselves, so they know who they're speaking to.
that's important because when the guy
Oh, it's
calls
very
back or
important.
the woman calls back, I was talking to Frank or I was talking to Margarita because you
Well,
said,
I had someone the other day drop a vehicle off, and I was just happened to be out in the parking lot. And if I'm walking through the parking lot and customers come and they're like, "Oh, here's the keys," and I'm like, "Nope, I don't touch keys. You have to bring them into the office."
just tell me
Well,
you
I
don't
was
know how
just
to drive.
talking to you on the phone. I'm like, "Nope, you weren't talking to me. You were talking to David."
So say,
So
Frank, just say you don't have a license. You only have a license to fix the cars,
yeah,
not to
right,
drive
yeah.
them.
No, I always tell them that I lose keys. I'm not allowed to have keys because I lose them. So it was funny the other day. A guy in the driveway says, "Oh, here's the keys." I said, "No, you have to give them to the office." So he goes in and talks to Margarita, and then I just happen to be walking in too, right? So he comes in this way, I come in the back way, and Margarita's like, "Oh, here's the car, here's the keys." So she hands me the keys, and he's like, "Oh, you are allowed to take the keys," and I said, "Only after they have a tag on them." so So they brought in, gave it to her, checked in, right? Because not everyone's checked in. They know you're there, blah, blah. The key is tagged. Now we're all good.
Yep.
And he chuckled about it. He thought it was funny, but I tell customers, I'm like, hey, look, I don't take keys in the parking lot. I used to, but I won't anymore.
Yeah, it's
Customer comes
I
in,
hear
nope, you don't take keys in the parking lot. You go in the office, you check in at the office, you announce that you're there, you let them know so they can start the process. They can
you. Yep.
tag your keys, they can check your information, make sure the DVI is started, make sure all that. Then they'll hand the keys. Well, usually hang them on the rack, and then we'll grab them from the rack and go from there, right? If we
Frank
don't if
in
we don't do those steps,
Yep.
something gets lost. Like the other day, that one step got missed. The customer A didn't come in,
Yep.
pull up in the front of the shop, and just sat in their vehicle and waited. I'm doing my work, and all of a sudden I'm like, when are we working on that vehicle? And Margarita's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he's been sitting out there for 15 minutes, and she's like, I guess when he wants his car fixed, he'll come inside.
Oh my god.
I It was an older gentleman. He's got some health issues. So eventually I walked out and I'm like, okay, we're here, and then we took the service and did the job. But
Yep.
special clients get special privileges, I guess. Maybe that's one way to say it. Maybe that shouldn't be a thing, but
You know one thing which now that I'm about to say it, I really need to implement it because I did learn it at the greatest expo there is coming up in North Carolina, the ASTA Expo.
let's
Uh,
go.
so key tag, really simple. Do you use key tag on TechMetric?
What?
Okay, you might like this.
I guess
So
not.
so there's a key tag feature where it was such a good idea, and I don't know why the hell I don't use it. So sometimes you'll finish with one of your Chevy Cruises, and you've got 76 of them, right?
I do
And you're
actually.
and you're like, where is this car, right? Like realistically, or any car, you're like, where'd you park it? So on each vehicle, you go under key tag. It's right in the if you go into your RO and you go under the RO number, it'll say like time in, save parts, no marketing source, appointment option. Then it goes RO notes. When you click add, there's a spot that says key tag on there, and you can actually enter in, um, you know, front lot left side, or front parking, or back
Oh,
parking,
like
or
that.
side parking.
Okay. Yep.
So whenever that car is done, you can write like in would be like, okay, it was dropped off in the front parking, right? Because you can ask the customer, like, where'd you park your car? In the front.
Yeah.
And then you can write on there slash out, and you can put back lot. So imagine if you never had to go look for a car. You look on the RO, and you know that that car coming in is parked, off to the left. Or and when you're done with the vehicle, you know where like after you're done parking it, you park it, and you go back in the RO, or you tell Margarita like, hey, RO 2659 is parked back lot right.
Like I could see that being very beneficial if you have a large. Like my friend was telling me, when he worked at a dealership. He said it would take sometimes 10 minutes to go and find a vehicle and bring it
Yep.
into the shop.
But
And I'm like,
sometimes you do have quite a few cars on your lot.
yeah, but it's all within like an L-shaped row. You walk out in the parking lot and you do a 360 and you're pretty much going to find it, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's parked outside the gate, which happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna start using it more because like sometimes, like you've been at my shop, I've got the front parking, and then I've got the side parking, and then I've got like 10 spots across from the garages, and then I've got another more space behind it where people sometimes park. So like
you know, if you're
it
if you're
it's
going to go to
difficult.
that extreme, why don't you number each parking spot?
I could, yeah.
Like if you're going to go to that extreme, if you have lines, I don't know if I can't remember if there's lines, but
Yeah. They're kind of still there, yeah.
yeah, if you had the lines painted at each spot numbered, that would be a fantastic
But you'd have
idea.
to you'd have to redo those lines very often, every year, year and a half.
No, I don't think so. If you get good quality paint, like look at the road. If you had the same yellow paint that they have on the yellow line on the road, that
Yeah,
lasts for years.
got to get the right company.
Hmm. Yeah, well, the crap that they spray on just in the parking lot's no good. But that, I mean, yeah, I if I had a large parking lot, I would 100% do that. Every single one would be numbered,
Yeah,
and then when you go park it, this is number 24. You could even write it on the T tag, and then go ahead and they could enter it in, and then when they give it back to the customer, they could say, "Oh, your vehicle is parked in parking spot number 24," so they don't have to go and look for it.
exactly.
Oh, hey, Aniz Junior.
Charlie, this is my, I guess my firstborn, you can call it, because he was here before all the kids. So for anyone that's listening, I just got my dog with me, and he's a good boy. But
Nice.
you know, little things like that. Yeah, and I agree. If you have a big lot, and I'm not saying my lot's big, it's not, but the way that my place is kind of situated, it
Yeah, it's a
could come
little
in
different.
handy.
Yep.
Even just the extra second to write down on the key tag that, you know, vehicles here, vehicles there, right?
Right.
But you know, little golden nuggets, I call them. This is what you learn at these trade shows. And again, in Canada, you know, most of our shops and people that we know, they don't have these big old lots like they do in the States. You talk to all these guys that have, you know, how many cars can you fit on your place? Oh, you know, not many, 80. Let's say, well,
80.
yeah. And they've got 10 bays and 15 bays and stuff like that. So
I've currently
it's
probably got
geared.
I've probably got 30 cars in my lot right now,
Yeah.
and room for a good 10 more. So
So, I
that's
mean, really, you could use that key tag feature because, I mean, if they're mostly in the back lot, you could write first row, second row, third row, right? And if you're trying to find that car quickly, if it's on the key tag, you're not going to be wasting time, right?
yeah. Well, after next month, when we get rid of some cars, we got a few cars there that we're going to run through the demolition derby.
Oh
So
yeah,
after they're gone, we want to revamp our parking lot and change the layout of it.
crap. Do you still need cars for that? Because I had a customer. I think they just got rid of their Corolla.
Oh, that would have been a perfect car for it.
Literally last week.
Oh, dude, anytime that you have something four cylinder like that and somebody is wanting to trade it in or something, like, let me know. I'll come up and get it because those are
Yeah,
perfect cars for
he just got rid of it because it what did it need? I can't remember. It needed something crazy. But yeah, I'll tell you next time for sure.
that. Yeah, those are good. I've got a Honda Fit, a Volkswagen Jetta, two Chevy Impalas. As long as they're going to let me run, I think I run the V6 in the four cylinder class. Two
When is
Chevy.
this demolition derby?
It's second weekend in August usually, so it'd be a Friday night when we're going to run in the banger race.
In Elmer?
Yep.
Yeah, text me the details. I'll see if I can come out there. That'll be a lot of fun.
That'd be cool. I've got, like I said, I've got four cars if and then a caravan if they'll let me run a caravan yet too. Oh, and then we still got our Honda from last year, so we might even have five or six cars if we can get them all ready.
Wow,
And then yeah, my I got two junior guys at the shop. They'd love to run it. My our new service advisor Jaden, she said she'd love to run one. So
nice.
uh, and then I might run one. So we'll see.
How many people are you running now at the shop?
We've got
Three service
one
advisors now, right? Technically.
one. Yeah. So technically, like we got one full time, one part time service advisor, and then Margarita is the bookkeeper slash customer service representative, I guess. So she
Yep.
like customers need a ride, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Parts need to be picked up. That's her. Then we've got two full time in the shop plus myself, and one part time in the shop.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, good staff then.
yeah. We're staffed pretty good now. We just need more car count.
Yeah.
It's it's I don't know. I've never seen a July as slow as this. Like I guess it's usually a little bit slow, but this is crazy. But then we had crazy busy February, March, so it's kind of balancing out.
Yeah, this I'm kind of excited because it's officially been a year since we've had Tech Metrics.
Oh, okay, really?
So the funny reason I'm excited is because now I'm actually able to compare properly, like last July on
Yeah.
the system compared to this.
Okay. Yeah.
And like last July, we were just kind of learning the system, kind of figuring things out. And I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at the end of the month. I'm like, oh my God, like were we even open?
Yeah, I'm doing month to month comparisons right now, and it's interesting to see how it changes month to month, even.
Oh, one little change here, one little change here,
Yeah.
and a little more. I don't want to use the wrong word, but just standing ground on certain aspects of your labor and your parts percentages makes such a huge difference at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think, oh, I can't ask that much for this job, or let me cut down a little bit of labor on this. They might sign the job, they may go for it, but a lot of the times they're coming to your shop because it's you, because they know that you're going to take care of them. So even if your parts or your labor's padded an extra zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.7, whether it's an old car or whatever it is, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to really fuss about an extra 50, $60, because again, sometimes you may spend an extra hour on the vehicle because of something's rusted or whatever, and you're not in, you've already got 5.5 or zero point 0.6 in it. You're probably just going to just take care of the customer if they're a good customer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well,
you
and
know
that's key. Is taking care of the customer is key. Is really what we're after and what we're
yeah,
like. I know you said earlier in there. It's everyone wants to make a profit, and we do, and that's the whole reason we open shop.
that's why you're in
I mean,
business, to make a profit.
to make money, right?
Yep.
But
It's not a dirty
but
word.
but the way you're gonna make money, and here's the keys: the way you're gonna make money is taking care of that customer. Because if you're
100%.
not taking care of the customer and you're just being like a, I would say fly by night, right? One stop shop,
Yep.
one time customer, all what that's not what you should be after. You should be after looking after the customer, retaining the customer, making sure that their vehicle is going to last as long as possible,
Yep.
and be efficient about it, right?
And
And
giving
that's
them
how
the
you're
right
going to make money.
advice, and
Yeah,
telling them, like giving them honest advice, like, you know Mrs. Johnson, like, if you were looking to purchase another vehicle, this would be the time to start looking, because this vehicle is getting to the point where it's beyond repair.
100%.
Because a lot of places won't say that because they want to keep fixing the crap box and keep making money off it, when that thing, you could lean on it the wrong way and the damn frame would break.
Well, that's exactly the Honda Fit that I mentioned that we're going in the Derby with.
Yeah.
It was exactly that. I sat her down one day and I said, "Look, this car, and it's rusty. I said it's at the point now. You really need to consider that you're going to buy another car." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." Well, then it just so happened. I think it was 3 weeks later. I was driving through town, and at one of the used car lots, I saw this beautiful looking Toyota Corolla, 2005. That's what it
Hmm.
was, 2005. An older Corolla. And I'm like, man, this would be like perfect for her. So, anyways, that's what we ended up doing. So I helped her buy it. I helped arrange the details to get it for her. But it was exactly that. I'm like, I could have fixed your car,
Yep.
but honestly, you really need to just replace it. It's at that point. It's gonna save you money to buy a new car. How about that?
and
That's
and
if you have to
and
sell it that way.
and that's the right thing to do as an ethical shop owner and business. That, hey, look, we've trucked this car along as
Yep.
far as we can. From this point, I
No,
mean,
no, that's not true. We can always go further.
yes, we can, but we
We
won't.
can always go further. But is it feasible? And
Yeah,
is it beneficial?
but sometimes these cars come to the point where we won't go any further than this because it is not right.
Yeah.
And it's not
That's
easy
the
to
right
make a
word.
buck, but it's very easy to spend your bucks.
Yeah.
So, we've gotten to the point where we've told customers, I'm sorry, but if you want it fixed beyond this, like, we're not the right shop for this vehicle for you, because I have to sleep at night, you know. Um, but going back to processes, I'll just kind of touch on it quickly. I think it's extremely important, when you get the customer on the phone, try to address what their problem is on the RO notes. And if you're going to ask them too many questions, well, have you had this done yet? Have you had this done yet? Have you had this done yet? A lot of times they just want you to fix what they're asking for.
Yeah. I don't say asking, have you got this? Have you got this? Have you got this? But
But
what I
like,
am
some advisors will try to hit them with seven more
no,
things, because they'll look on the Carfax, and you know what I mean, and they'll say, oh, they haven't done this and this, but the
no.
main thing
I
is give
I
them.
always say, like, I heard this in one of the trainings. Like, okay, somebody brings a vehicle in, and this is their concern. Like that, say that caravan with the pulsating, and we knew it needed brakes and tires. But let's say I had found an oil leak or something on it. The very first thing you do is you sell them the job that they came in for,
Yep.
the concern that they have. Then, after they have agreed to that concern, and you say, okay, this is what it's going to take to fix your brakes and your tires and blah, blah, blah. Just so you know, we also found this. If you're wanting to do this, this is how much this would cost, right?
Yep.
That's to me, when I heard that, I'm like, that's all. It's how I've always done it, but that's the proper way to do it. Because if you're like, you customer brought in for tires and brakes, and you say, oh, by the way, like, while you're giving them the quote, here's tires and brakes, and oh, we found this oil leak, and there's this quote, and there's this quote, and there's this quote, and now all of a sudden they're like overwhelmed, and they're like, I that's not what I asked for, right? And that's where you get the shady shop from, right? It's like
But then again, if
you
they
still
came in for tires and brakes, and they did the tire and brakes, right? And then you're like, by the way, you need this, and this. Then they're gonna say, well, why the hell did you tell me to, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? Because I
oh,
wouldn't have done the tire and brakes.
you tell them in the beginning. You say
Yeah, yeah, it has to be in the beginning. Yeah.
has to be in the beginning, but you say this is how much it's going to cost to fix your tires and brakes, okay? And they say, oh yeah, okay, well that's the price. So let's say it's $1,000. It's going to cost
Yep.
$1,000 to fix tires and brakes. We also found this,
Yes.
and
As
that
long as
would
it's
cost
it's
you.
it's in the next breath.
It's in the next breath, right? Once they've agreed to say, oh, that $1,000, yeah, okay. But we also found this, and this would cost you another 500, right? Now,
Because
does it complement this? Maybe not. But if it complements that, then you really have to be adamant about that. Because let's say you have a tie rod loose,
yep,
you fix your brakes and you fix your tires, but we can't put tires on unless you fix your tie rod and do an alignment,
yep.
because otherwise your tires are going to wear out, right?
See, there's a
Different
lot
scenarios,
of
different processes that way.
there's
But
tons of shops that'll they'll do they'll sell them the brakes and tires, and then when it's all done, they give the car back to them and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to send you this other inspection that you need all of this work, and let me
um,
know if you want to get.
that,
Then that customer is either going to, like, lose their mind, or they're
yeah,
never coming back.
exactly. Then you have what I call a one-time customer, because they came in one time and you just didn't treat them right, and
Yeah.
they'll just go somewhere else, right?
What we do is, like, when the customer comes in, with their concern, we'll tell them, like, look, our process is, we're going to put it up, we're going to do a DVI, digital vehicle inspection, and it's going to be this much. We're going to check your car, and we are going to quote you on your concern. Now, if there are any supplementary items that we find on top of this, we're going to quote you all of it, but we are going to focus on your concern that you came in for today. How does that sound? That's great. So
See,
so when we do the DVI, we send it to them, we go over it. I'm like, look, we found that your lower control arm ball joint is completely out of it, and the bushing is gone. So you really need this. Also, I want to make sure you're aware that you have no front brakes, and one of your tires has a bulge in it. I know those other two things are not what you want to hear right now, but my job as a shop owner, and we want to make sure that we're informing you about it. I want to definitely quote you on those two items, but what you came in for today, here is the quote for that. And then from there, I let them talk, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, okay, let's take care of that,
yeah,
and either give me a quote for this, or you know what, I might be able to come back next week and then we can talk about it. but
that's
but I
how.
make but I make sure that it's spoken in the same breath, and not
Yeah, very
after
much
they've
so.
already said go ahead and do the control arm, and then you hit him with another $800. Then you're a
Yeah,
jerk.
then you're a jerk. Yeah, that's how we've had to create that process for air conditioning, because like air conditioning is a tricky subject
Very,
because like
very.
it's so hard to say the system is empty, and how do you know the compressor is going to work, right? So like we have a very like we won't even touch the AC unless the customer agrees to a pressure test or leak test diagnosing. So if it comes in and it has pressure,
Yep.
but the compressor isn't working right, then we'll go further and then we sell an electrical test. But if it's got no pressure, they have to agree to a leak test so that we can find out where it's leaking. If they won't, we
Don't even
we just
start.
won't.
Yeah.
Right? So we had a customer the other day, and we told them like we just won't do anything to your AC system unless we find where that leak is. Oh no, but you've topped it up in the past.
Yeah.
We may have, but regardless, that's not our process anymore. We
You
refuse
know.
to, right? There's too many liabilities for that.
Yeah.
There's too many concerns with that, so we won't. Unless we can find the leak, we don't touch it. And if you're not
I.
agreeing to that, then
Yep.
we're not the right shop for you.
I
And that's fine.
even I had a customer that came in, and they were saying my AC is kind of cool, but not very cold. I'm like, okay. So I was like, look, this is what we have to do. For first things first, we have to evacuate the system. Like, okay. So we have to evacuate it, and then we're going to do a nitrogen test on the system. We're going to make sure there's no leaks in there. And I hope it's just a recharge because it's cheaper for you, and everyone's happy. But if there is a leak, I cannot put whatever Freon or whatever that was in your compressor back in because there's a leak, right? And they're like, well, what do you mean? That's my Freon. I'm like, yes, but we can't just put back the whatever ounces or whatever you had. So you could go from kind of cool to nothing. So that, well, that's not fair. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's right. Am I right about that, Frank? Or
Well, I do that a little differently because if the system has Freon already in it, like and it's not efficiently cool, um, I have a Freon leak detector
mhm.
that was stupid expensive, and so then I will find and I found many leaks that way.
But if they don't want to fix it, you see what I'm saying?
Oh, like that. Yeah, if they don't want to fix it,
That's what I'm
like that,
saying,
you agree to. You're right.
right? That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. If it's kind of cool, right? And then you evacuate it, you do the nitrogen test, and let's say it's got leaking high pressure and low pressure lines,
yeah,
and the compressors
yeah.
you
Well,
can
you can't fill it back up again for sure.
so right, like that's, you can't put whatever was in there back in it because you're not allowed to, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's true. Yep.
That's what I'm trying to, that's the point I'm trying to make. Most
Yep.
of the time, they're going to want to fix it because it's hot as crap outside. But we've had customers that are like, well, it was kind of cool before, and now it's not, and you've tagged it that there's a leak. I'm like, yes, because we can't put that back in.
I love the customer. I had one today come in, and we had put a compressor on it recently, and his wife complained that it wasn't getting cold enough. I said, all right, well, we'll check it out. Maybe we've got a defective compressor or something like that.
Yep, it happens.
I brought it in, checked it. I got a little thermometer that I stick in the vent, and within just like 30 seconds, it was down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep,
I pulled it out and I showed him. I said, "How much colder do you want it to be?" He's like, "I guess that answers the question." And that was it. We were done. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It is cold. It ain't gonna get any colder, and it's just gonna freeze up. Like it's working absolutely perfect. He says, "Okay, I'll go home and tell her." So
yep,
like, the evidence was there. But I mean, yeah, if it hadn't been working, like then you have to make that decision.
yeah,
Are you willing to invest into fixing this? This is what it potentially could cost.
yep,
We don't know. This is step number one. And we always tell our customers this is step number one to diagnose air conditioning. Once we have passed this step, then we go to step number two. This is like a graduated licensing system, right? You
yeah,
can't jump to the end, it's
yep,
impossible. If the first step fails, we don't go to step two.
right.
If it passes, we go to step two. If that fails, we stop there, right? Like there's a process. And once we get to the end and everything is good, you'll have cold air and then you'll
And
be happy
sometimes
and you'll
these
pay for
customers don't realize that you have a lot of players in the game when it comes to AC components. You got
it.
your compressor,
It's,
you got your condenser, you got high
yep.
pressure line, low pressure line. You could have bad rear lines that are screwing everything up and leaking. And then to do those, God help you if you got what was
You
that
know,
Ford Explorer rear lines or something like it could be a nightmare.
oh yeah, you got to take the rear differential out to change them.
I think we had these things called shark bite. We had a couple customers
Yep.
that just wanted to just cancel out the. I think it was canceling out the AC for the rear.
Block off the rear lines. Yep.
Yeah, there's like a tool
Yep.
called shark bite or something. I think we used it a year or two ago, and the customer was super happy because they used to care more when they had their kids with them. Now it's just them two,
Yeah,
and
it's a common practice to do that, and I have no problem doing that. There's shops that will refuse to do that, like, oh, unless we're fixing and replacing the lines, it has to be. No, I have no problem doing that. If it has a dual system and you simply don't want the rear system to work anymore,
yep.
we actually had a customer recently. They asked us if we do that, is that reversible? And I said no. If we do this as a permanent, it's like getting a vasectomy. It's permanent. It's not reversible.
I
Right?
mean, there's some
Yeah,
doctors
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
that
We'll talk
could.
about that. But I said, like the problem is that the rear system is now open to the atmosphere, and all that stuff in there is going to rot away. So if a year from now you decided that oh we want to reconnect the lines and we want to put new lines in the back, now you have to do a condenser, like or sorry, an evaporator core in the back, an expansion valve, all the lines. Like if you want to do it now. If you don't want to do it, this is a permanent repair. It'll have front AC, not rear. And
Sorry,
once they
Frank. So
understand
what?
that,
So
that's fine.
what part of the vasectomy is the cooler lines
It's
and
the
which
line.
one is going to be beyond repairs? Just so our listeners can understand for the
It's
clip
the
that you're
two
going to make
lines
from
that
this.
run from the feed point
Oh
up to
boy.
the used point. Of
Oh
it's
boy.
those two lines. If you cut them off, that's permanent.
Oh boy. Well, for anyone underage listening to this, sorry for the crazy analogies. Whoa, are you still there?
Yep.
You still there? Okay. So yeah. So
Ow.
basically, I'll just finish off with basically once the vehicle is repaired, we want to make sure that before we even take a dime from the customer, we go over the complete repair order. And so Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, today we went ahead and took care of the front right lower control arm. and your right front outer tie rod. We did an alignment on there as well, and we let you know about your front brakes, which we took care of as well. And I know you've got the estimate, you've approved it, so this is your total. And what is your preferred method of payment? So they'll
Yep.
pay. I'll text and email them the receipt and tell them, like, if there's anything else I can do for you, you can text, call, or email. More than happy to take care of you, and that's it.
Yep.
You don't need any more fluff than that, really.
No, it's when you start to make it sound elaborate and
Yeah,
over the hill, then customers start to be like, what's going on here? But if you're just straight up and truthful and honest and say this is what it needs and this is what it's going to take and this is how much it costs you, and yeah, we took care of it. It's all good, and that's as you can stand behind your word and say it's all good. It's
and
not going to be a problem again.
and one thing we do tell customers, sometimes we'll resend for approval, just because, you know, some customers, even if they've been to you for a long time, and they know that their bill is going to be $540, and you need, um, if you're doing, let's say you're doing rear drums and shoes, you need a hardware kit, another 30-40 bucks. And sometimes I'm like, hey, look, I'm just going to quickly resend the estimate. Some customers are like, oh wow, like, that's, thank you for doing that, because a lot of other shops would have just thrown that 40 bucks on there, and
Yeah,
then at the end of it they would have just said, oh, by the way, now your bill's this much. It's those extra little surprises that a lot of customers don't want to see,
yeah.
right? So Frank, for you, I know we're burning the midnight oil a bit here, but for your process, basically, once the customer gets the estimate for you, where does it go from there?
After they get the estimate, as soon as it's approved, like whether we text or email them or call them the estimate, once it's approved, and it's pretty simple. Get parts ordered, whether it's on the rack waiting or if it's in the yard, then it gets in the queue, right? Um, but if it's in the rack, then you start tearing it down, waiting for parts. We try not to wait for parts, right? But once the parts get there, you stick it on. It's pretty simple. Like, we don't make it complicated. The customer approves the job, parts are ordered, it gets done. Um, After that, um, then it's a matter of when the customer's coming to pick it up. But like you said, what how are you going to pay? And if they send an e-transfer, once the e-transfer is cleared,
Yep,
okay, what do you want to do with the keys, right? You want us to leave the keys in the car? Do you want us to lock it in the lockbox? What do you want to do? Most of the
yep,
time, customers are like, oh, just leave the key in the cup holder with a bill in there, and away you go. No
yep,
problem. As long as the e-transfer is cleared, right?
yep.
Oh, I'll send an e-transfer after 6 when I get home. That's
Yeah,
okay. You can
no,
pick your car up tomorrow then. No
yeah,
problem.
exactly.
Yep.
I remember my late father-in-law. I think he had a sign, "Let's be friends, no credit."
Yeah. Yeah. Really, that's the way to.
Yeah,
And it's not really friends that will ask you for credit. It's
yeah,
family.
oh yeah,
It's family and it's strangers.
yeah,
Oh, no, it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. Some strange person will walk in and say, "Oh, no, I'd like to do such and such and such." Sure. Yeah. Can I make it on payments?
yeah, no,
Why not? That's what you have a credit card for. Well, I don't have a credit card. Somebody taught me that years ago, right? If a customer comes in and asks if they can put it on credit,
yeah,
you go like, "Sure. Which credit card would you like to use?" No,
yeah,
I don't have a credit card. I would just like credit here. No,
yeah, no.
we're not a bank facility. It is not our business is to
In
do that.
in the U.S., they do have financing that you can kind of put into your shop management system, and
You can do
and
that here
offer it.
too. You can do it
Yeah,
here too.
I've never really looked into. I don't really get into that situation
I
often
mean,
at all.
in general, like the repairs that you and I do, it's not like if you were going to be doing an engine job or something like that, and you're talking like $10,000-15,000. I can understand why somebody would need to finance that, right?
If you're like doing a Zeb caliber repair,
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But in general, I think the work that you and I do, it's not necessary to get into financing.
Nope, nope.
Yeah,
But all right, Frank. I know it's getting late. I'm getting a bit tired here as well.
you better
But
go put, what was it, Charlie?
yeah,
Charlie, better
yeah,
go put Charlie to bed.
I got to take him for a little walk outside and to have dinner. Did I have dinner? I think I did. Yep. Yep. I'm gonna probably have a snack and call it a night, buddy.
All right.
All right, Frank. We will talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and please tune in for the next episode as well. We are actually over 30 episodes in so far, and
Woo!
that's pretty exciting. So when we started this, we weren't sure what kind of where it was going to go, but Frank and I think we're both having a good time. So thank you for everyone that's been listening. Follow us on Shop and Chat Talk podcast on Facebook, and signing off. Thank you.